Check this out. Check it out.
Friends and family are making their presence felt in court. They want Ronald Simpson to be denied bond.
He's accused of fatally stabbing his wife more than 100 times, allegedly in front of the couple's 8-year-old daughter. Jason Miles has the latest from criminal court.
Defendant Michael Simpson was supposed to appear in court here today, but his hearing was rescheduled. It doesn't matter to those who loved his wife. They say they'll be here every time his name is on a docket.
This is Street Knowledge, Street News.
In a hallway outside the 177th District Court.
She was just a wonderful person, a wonderful
Giving you a scoop of what's going on in the streets.
The loss of 49-year-old Robin
Check it
Simpson,
out.
a little more than 2 months.
Straight from inside the raw soup bowl of what's happening
beyond
now.
Comprehension. It's just beyond trying to put your head together and understand.
They were here for a scheduled court appearance for 58-year-old Michael Simpson, charged with fatally stabbing his wife Robin inside their Alberta Street home before allegedly mutilating her body. Police say he also terrorized their 8-year-old daughter, who witnessed the crime.
This is Street
The little
Knowledge,
girl said,
Street News.
Daddy's stabbing Mommy.
Since then, Robin Simpson's family in Philadelphia started this online petition to keep her accused killer locked up despite a $300,000 bond, while friends and advocates closer to home make sure her memory remains alive.
I spoke to Robin that Thursday and Friday before it happened.
They're still in disbelief given the details of the alleged crime, among the worst Andy Kahn with Crime Stoppers says he's ever seen.
And right now, our main concern is justice for Robin. That is our main and only concern.
Simpson died the day after her 50th birthday,
Knowledge,
which friends and family had hoped to help her celebrate. Police say Robin Simpson called 911 the night she was killed and said her husband was acting suicidal and armed with a knife. Sadly, it was her life he allegedly took. He's due back in court next month. My attempts to reach his attorney were unsuccessful. Reporting from the Criminal Justice Center downtown, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
Or missed. Get news
A crucial
updates
reminder
on what's
here,
happening now.
help is available. If you or anyone you know is a victim of domestic violence, you can call the phone number there on your screen or simply text the word START to 88788.
The U.S. strikes against the Houthis in Yemen mark a significant escalation of tensions in the Middle East. The world is now waiting to see whether the strikes will accomplish their goal to stop the Houthis from targeting ships in the Red Sea or raise the risk of an even wider conflict. Nadwa Al-Dessari was born and raised in Yemen and is a non-resident scholar at the Middle East Institute in Washington, D.C. Thank you for being with us. And how will the U.S.-led strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen, how will that affect the militant group's strategy moving forward, in your view?
Well, I mean, the Houthis have survived 8 years of intense airstrikes by the Saudis and the Emiratis, and they survived that. They've emerged stronger than before. So airstrikes might neutralize the Houthi threat on the Red Sea shipping, but that will be temporarily.
What impact will these airstrikes have on the Houthis standing in Yemen? Do they welcome these airstrikes?
Yemenis are concerned about these airstrikes because they lived the horrors of airstrikes for 8 years, and these airstrikes caused a lot of civilian casualties, a lot of destruction, but also they made the Houthis stronger. So Yemenis at large don't want to go through, another episode of airstrikes that only benefit the Houthis at the expense of Yemenis. Now,
giving you a scoop of
Houthis are still extremely unpopular, but the Houthis are using the Gaza war and the war with Israel and America, which is their narrative that they're at war with Israel and America. They're using that to oppress the population and silence critics. They're using that to force families to send their children to indoctrination camps, to recruit fighters, to recruit children at a mass scale. And so these airstrikes could be very good for the Houthis. The Houthis want war. They want confrontation for the U.S. They want confrontation with Israel and that's why they continued to attack the ships in the Red Sea. That's how they build, they make an excuse to oppress the population. So this will be good for the Houthis if it's only airstrikes.
Well, in order for the U.S. goal of deterrence to be effective on a more permanent basis, what kind of approach would be required?
Well, the Houthis have proven to be a strategic threat to security, regional security, and international shipping, and so only a strategic approach will mitigate the Houthi threat. Now, airstrikes by the U.S. and the U.K. Are not going to address that. The U.S. and the international community need to support Yemeni government forces to weaken the Houthis militarily and rebuild Yemen.
The Houthis, as you well know, are also backed by Iran, which has supplied militias across the Middle East as a way of stepping up its own influence. How independent are the Houthis from Iran? Are they acting on their own?
This is street knowledge.
Or are they following Iran's instructions right now?
It's both. So the Houthis are not Iran puppets. They don't carry Iran orders. Having said that, the Houthis are very strong allies with Iran, and they both have long-term goal in the region, which is Iran's expansionist agenda. And that include weakening Saudi Arabia, taking Mecca, and eventually liberating Jerusalem, in their own words, and destroying Israel. More importantly, also pushing the U.S. and the West out of the region. The Houthis also are capable of acting on their own. Iran has empowered the Houthis, it's strengthened them. And I'm not even sure if Iran decided that the Houthis need to de-escalate today, that the Houthis would do that.
The White House says the strikes last night were not intended to ignite a wider regional war. You can argue that with the U.S.-led attacks against Houthi targets in Yemen, that the Israel-Hamas war has already escalated into a regional conflict. The question is whether or not it can be contained. How do you view it?
Things could spiral out of control. The risk is high. Having said that, I think it's important for the U.S. and the West to address the Houthi problem, and that's not going to happen with airstrikes. And also, it's not going to happen with putting boots on the ground. A more sustainable solution would be to work with the Yemeni government and strengthen Yemeni forces so that they can weaken the Houthis. Now, Iran and other proxies might still exist, but the Houthis have proven to be the most strategic threat to everyone, basically, in the region.
Nadwa Al-Dasari is a non-resident scholar at the Middle East Institute in Washington. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For watching our digital media, and thank you for your support.